everyone, and thank you so much for joining me again for this edition of the Women Spotlight. This edition is one of my favorite in the year, and I'll tell you why. It's happening during Women's History Month. That's right. Who would have thought a whole entire month dedicated to appreciating women? And I'm telling you, today I've got a powerhouse for you. Svetlana Ratnikova is here with us, and she is a powerhouse to be reckoned with. She has founded the IWB network, Immigrant Women in Business. And not only is she out there helping immigrant women find their feet in this country, women who are coming from war-torn countries like Yugoslavia, women who are here and they've been beaten or they've had domestic violence in the home, or they're just trying to get back into the workforce and they've left everything behind in their country and they've come here. Well, Svetlana is helping them get on their feet, find a network and get help and build their own empires. But not only does she do that, she's all about social impact. So she's got tons of programs that she's running, and she's dealing with, on one end, these immigrant women, and on the other end, these wealthy investors that she's trying to make the connection with so she can have real impact out there. But let me not tell you all about it. Let me get into some great conversation with her. So Svetlana, thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you so much for all the work you do. I honor you. You're such a beautiful soul, and you are the epitome of a powerhouse. When I'm around you, my frequency is always on high vibration. So thank you for all you do, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Tara. Super excited. Love the world today. A lot that we can do as ladies, as women, and let's go to that. Let's go see what we can do to provide value to your audience, and let's bring smiles, positive business solutions to the world that is so much needed today.
Thank you. And you know what I love about your story is that you had a powerful business back home. You left everything behind. You came to Canada and you built this empire up. So tell us a little bit about where you're from and how you found your feet here in Canada. What made you come? Let's start there.
I'm born in Russia, in Moscow. I was raised in many countries because of my parents. My dad ran Airflot, like Air Canada. For Canada, they have Russian Airlines, Airflot, and I was privileged to live in many different countries around the world. Prague, Hungary, Budapest, Vienna, and Abu Dhabi. I lived in those countries, and it what formed me, along, of course, with the leadership of my father, who taught me the most important in life. It's discipline. So he ingrained to me in a young age that I have to learn, produce, do more, accomplish more, never enough, always more that we can accomplish, because the more we accomplish, the more resources we have to help other people. And that's how I was raised. And really all my life long, I follow those habits that was gifted to me by my father. I'm not saying that it was easy, okay?
I know, because my dad was all about hard work and discipline too.
Absolutely, here we go. So that's really what got me today we say that success is between your ears. I want to make sure that your audience and you understand that it's a gift to have parents like that, and to parents who have today young children. That's the best what we can give them, the habits of discipline. The habits is to perform, to do, to accomplish, and not to keep them hungry, put them in sales, get them to learn something, but for sure not to spoil them, not to keep them constantly hungry. So that's how I was raised. I could have
every discipline. He traveled to the world with you, and he taught you to work hard. And so how did you go from there to Canada? What happened in Russia, Moscow, that made you decide to leave? Because you built an empire there with all that hard work and dedication.
So I was one of the first female entrepreneurs in Moscow and Russia. We didn't have capitalism. I was in my last year of university when Gorbachev, that's one of our leaders, he announced privatization, right? Privatization, when you actually can have your own business. In socialism, you cannot have the business, right? Everything belongs to the government. In capitalism, we can own our own piece of the property, intellectual property, or anything that you want to do, participating in the growth of the economy. So I was in my last year of university, and because of my leadership skills that was given to me by father, and different outlook in life, right? Because once you live in different countries, you quickly realize that it's not really wealth that determines your success in life and happiness, especially living in Abu Dhabi. You can imagine that.
Yeah.
It's really what you do. It's really what's in here. That's what you do every day, every moment of your life for progress and helping other people. So my mindset was structured that at the age of 13, I already looked at the world. And you know how we say, believe in yourself? Yeah, it's easier when I have parents like mine. I'm not saying that anybody can do it. Of course, anybody can believe in themselves with the help of other people. If you don't have parents like that, you can always have a coach or mentor, somebody who can guide you towards that thinking. But that thinking permitted me to start my own company right away. I created seat covers for cars. It's a very popular product in Russia.
Very industrial of you.
It's not, my grandmother taught me how to sew. I created my own dresses, and it was just, I saw the need and I created the product. I created the product for my own car, and then people start, like, basic 101 entrepreneurship, and people start asking me, oh, you have this beautiful car seats. I want it for myself too, right? So, and at the same time, Gorbachev allowed privatization. That was my business. Here we go. And how it started. And it was not very difficult to scale the business in Russia because we didn't have competition. Privatization was just unfolding, right? So, and I feel this is the most exciting part of my story, because I built businesses with no competition. And then when I came to Canada, I look right away, oh my goodness, this is a very competitive market, because capitalism is here for 200 plus years, right? But it's really, that's what escalated the growth, because I always describe my business back then, you have one bottle of water in a desert, right? That's it, I had one product. It was no competition. So when I came to, in our countries, like a lot of people in our countries, when you're born in Canada, you have connections. I'm born in Russia, in Moscow. I make a few phone calls. I got in front of decision-making person in the Ministry of Transportation, who said, okay, great product. How many you can manufacture? So my only challenge was to manufacture enough to distribute to 300 stores all over Russia. Russia is a good country to do the business because it's a big country, right? With a big country comes a lot of volume. So that's why us Canadians, we always do Canada and US, right? Because in the US, you just add another zero on your proposal, which is Russia is a good country to do the business for scalability, right? So that's what happened. So with that wealth and the beginning of capitalism in Russia, and again, I always mention that because a lot of people, they didn't have chance to travel to Russia, not necessarily that they need to travel to Russia, especially today, but Russia is a beautiful place, culturally and everything else. People are beautiful. Nobody wants the war, so everybody's clear. So it's all. But in Russia, when capitalism started, it introduced. Because the taxation system, everything was just forming, right? So people who became wealthy, just myself, again, through work, through scalability. I created one product, I went to the market. I sell 10 products, I bought new fabric, more fabric to create 100 products, okay? When I created 100 products, and again, all those 100 products, and by the way, basic 101 entrepreneurship. I'm driving and I'm, because it's a certain model of Russian car, Lada. It was new 8, 9, and 10. Anyways, people who are Russian audience, they would know what it is, or Europeans. And I was just showing, I would just open the door in my car. So here's my product. He said, I like it. So that's how I sold my first 100, right?
Wow,
So
yeah.
it's very simple. See, in my car, that's how it starts, because often people, they overcomplicate for some reason entrepreneurship. They think that they need the money, they need this, they need that. No, you just need your heart and you just need action. You just get out there. And I mean, people that would love what you do. I mean, people that love good products and everything else. So anyways, from organic growth to wholesale distribution, that's what introduced me to volume. And when volume gets generated, you become wealthy, then the country start producing what you call, when you see in movies, Russian mafia. But back then, today it's organized Russian mafia. Back in my days, in the first 30 years of capitalism, it was not organized Russian mafia, meaning you have your people who you pay to keep protected. It's like kind of we pay here to taxes, right? I mean, we just didn't have taxation system, or everything was not in place yet, right? Because the country changed from socialism to capitalism. I mean, that's a huge shift, of course, yes. So not organized mafia, it means even if you have people who protect you, then tomorrow there's another group comes and tell you, okay, you pay them 30%, you pay me also 30%. And I said, okay, I can pay you also 30%. Then the third group comes and they say, and you pay me 30%. I said, hold on for a second. How I can pay everybody 30%? What am I going to do, right?
Yeah, you're already at just 10%. What are you going to do with that to live? Understood.
And that's fine. I mean, I'm all good for protecting people. We pay for our security here. But that's how criminal activities of not organized. Today, they're organized Russian mafia. It used to be not organized. So those groups, they were fighting against each other for the money that we make as ethical, honest entrepreneurs. And one day I got a phone call that I have a son and I have to watch him because if I don't give them the certain amount of money, I have to watch my son. I might lose my son. And that made my decision to leave the country.
Yeah, never mess with our family, right?
Yes, absolutely. And again, I was brought up with those principles. So God comes first, then family, then business. It's always like that. So it's never business. Yes, I employed a lot of people. The biggest challenge for me was to leave because of my parents back was still at Emirates, at Abu Dhabi. It was easier for me to leave because it would be very difficult when they were right beside me. But I have my grandmother, was very difficult, but she said she knew what I was going through. She said, just go. But the people who I employed, because my philanthropic heart, I always had my philanthropic heart because my mom gave it to me. My mom was just an angel. You know, some people, the angels, like me and you, we're not angels. We're tough. But my mom was just an angel, yes. And she just gave me that tremendous love to people, right? It's a basic leadership also skill that if you love people, you want to do, first of all, you become visionary because you don't just do the product to sell a little bit of product. You embark on a mission to do good for the society.
To change the world, absolutely.
Of course.
One small act at a time.
And that's what my mom gave it to me. So that's why my people who worked for me in Russia, I mean, again, nobody knocked at my door and told me that. Again, that's kind of my love to people. I chose to employ single mothers and veterans of Second World War. So now my biggest challenge was to leave them because they were counting on the money that I paid them to produce the product. But again, not family business.
Yeah.
So family came first. I said to my ex-husband today, I said, we're going, I'm going no matter what. I mean, you're coming with me or not, I made my decision. So
did he come with you?
He came with me, yes.
Okay. So then, then you packed up everything. You left this wealthy wholesale business that you built from the ground up behind. You brought your son and your husband at the time, and you moved to Canada. What was it like when you first got here?
Very exciting and very new. I could tell right away, I could smell the air of opportunities and freedom. I could just smell it. I mean, you can feel it from people, from the way they interact. You can tell that people are, they live in an environment, it's basically that soil that gets you to opportunity to become who, whatever you want to become. You feel it from the energy, from the people smiling to you everywhere, right? I mean, Canada is a beautiful country where we lead with kindness, but you feel it right away when you come to this, when you come to this land. So I felt outstanding. I didn't speak a word of English, but I could tell that this country, it's just subconsciously, I could tell this is a good country and nice people. If I could do in Russia, in this country where we have mature capitalism, ethical capitalism, I call it, where people, they go to jail for financial fraud. I look at the laws right away. I understand what this country get to offer, and this is the magic of because the backbone of everything is small business. I'm already entrepreneur. I'm good. I knew that would take me some time to figure things out, but I could tell with those two, ethical capitalism, with working business laws, because most of the countries, you understand that in most countries, Colombia, Russia, China, you can make money so much easier than in Canada. It's not why we come to this country. I was fortunate that it happened to me to land in this country, right? Because I could be still in my own country being good, excellent. People would look at me still, oh, Svetlana, and I would live my life. But I mean, it's really was a gift to come to this country for me that it happened. And because I have entrepreneurial spirit, I make decisions, right? That's what we do as entrepreneurs. We take risk. So I took the risk to come to this country, which is one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Because now looking at what happened in Russia, having money in Russia and being successful entrepreneur in Russia versus in Canada, it's not even close, right? Because here I enjoy human rights. I own my own spirit, my own leadership, because again, when we say that half of the women around the world, they don't have human rights. Yes, there's domestic violence and this and that, but there's also another level of that. Leaders of my caliber in Russia, we don't have human rights either because it's in the law of human rights. It's okay for your husband to yell at you. It's okay to your husband to be abusive. There's no law protecting women, right? When I came to this country, and this, I think this is the magic gift of this country, working laws and human rights aspect of things, that what allows us as women to not only be wealthy and do sales. We can all do that. You can do it. I can do it. No, we actually get recognition from the society. We get treated just like gentlemen. We can do whatever we want. There's that gender equality. If you choose to step up a leader, you can have the top what this world get to offer in Canada as a woman.
And I want to touch on that really quickly, because as a Canadian, I'm a second generation immigrant. I was born here in Canada. And so when you're born here, sometimes you don't always appreciate what you have as rights, because even here in Canada, I wouldn't say we're equal. We're still fighting for equity in all DEIB areas, right? Not just as females, but for diversity in general. But coming from a place like Russia or other places around the world where women have no rights, two things. One, women here have to recognize the blessing we already have. We have to start with gratitude if we're going to continue to drive change. And then second, if you're coming from another country under those circumstances, many women don't know how to step into their power here because they're so used to being pressed down and oppressed as they were in their home country. How do you help women understand when they migrate here all of the added privilege that they have? And now I'm not saying it's completely equal yet, but I'm just saying that that increase of that of ability that they have and of rights that they have when they come here, because I'm sure you see it with these women when they come.
I see it everywhere. Yes, I mean that's for me because I'm a strong leader, and strong leaders we are very logical. I don't do things that don't make sense. I came to this country. I lived in a Russian will, like most of the people that go to their own part of Canada, which is if you come from Pakistan or India, you live in Brampton. Most of them, right? You live in your own community, which is good. It's not great. Now, I lived in my Russian community for 3 days. Quickly realized that, first of all, I didn't speak a word of English. If I want to learn English, I went to the school the third day, and I see people, it's not productive what they do in school in order to learn the language, because they read and write through, they translate newspapers, and then on the breaks, they speak their own language. I said, no, if you actually want to learn the language, you need to speak the language.
You got to immerse yourself in what you're trying to create.
But see, that's my leadership skills, right? That's what I mean, I know that you're passionate about leadership, both of us. It wasn't me, because as a leader, I believe in myself and making logical decisions. They are not difficult decisions. They're just logical decisions. I looked around and I said to myself, okay, did I come to this country to become Canadian? One and only way I can become Canadian if I'm among Canadians who are going to teach me, number one, how to speak the language, and going to teach me how this country works. Right?
The ins and outs of this.
Of course. I moved right away to downtown Toronto. My son was 6 when I arrived. I remember sitting in the playground, didn't speak a word of English, but that's how you learn, right? You put yourself in uncomfortable situation, right? And guess what? 6 months later, I start speaking, because around me were people who speak English, right? So this is kind of the integration, and that's what I find a lot of newcomers, a lot of immigrants. They do not often do, because it's comfortable to be in your own place. But with that, it comes a lot of challenges, right? Because you bring your own culture into Canada, and you have to live with little Russia, little India, little Pakistan, which is beautiful. Canada sponsors multiculturalism. This is fantastic. I love it. Only if I didn't see the numbers of domestic violence. See? Once you look at the number increase of domestic violence, that will get you. You'll understand that being in there, I mean, there are many different other ways I can describe that, but I'm a business person. I have I'm driven by data. I think it's very easy to explain to people.
Yes, you are both data queens for sure.
Yeah, that's right. So when I look at it, so it doesn't work like that. And I understand nobody wants to talk about yellow elephant in the room. I get it. But I mean, that's one of the reasons Immigrant Women in Business was born. Because when I became who I am today, when I built my company, when we retired with my husband, today Canadian husband. So when we came back and decided to make a difference in the world, we decided to be leaders in a social impact space. Yes, we create a new business model in a giving space. We were one of the first ones to create for-profit social enterprise.
And I want to really dig into what that for-profit enterprise is. Before we move to that business dialogue, so what I'm hearing from you is when these women come to the country, or when immigrants come into the country, it's wonderful that they're able to maintain their culture and to have, I love that about Canada, right? You know where to go to Little Korea, you know where to go for Little Italy, right? Where you're going to Woodbridge or St. Clair, you know where to go for Little Mexico. It's great. But I think what I'm hearing from you is, yes, keep your culture, but step out of that and also into the uncomfortableness of understanding how to integrate into the Canadian business market so that these immigrant women can get into business. So as you're helping them make that switch, you yourself were married. I think you and your first husband separated, and you were building your empire in Canada, right? What did
Yes.
you, so as a now single mom building your empire in Canada, what did that look like? Help me understand that part of the journey.
A lot of hard work, like anything else, a lot of sacrifices, but again, unshakable belief in myself and passion. I mean, I love people. I would do anything to help the humanity. And that is really the driving force of anybody. For sure, all the females in Canada, we all have passion to do something good, tap into that passion. I mean, I contribute the success of my career, of my business career, to the mentors who I was able to attract. And they didn't knock at my door. I knock at their door. With that level of passion, they couldn't say no to me. Because
So
I came like a hurricane. I said, I have a passion. I have this. I need your help. That's the intensity. They feel my passion. And that's a basic of anything that we do in life, right? When we raise our children, we raise it with passion to give that beautiful gift of life, our child, something spectacular, not okay. Okay is in Bangladesh and in Russia. That's when it's okay. Here in Canada, you can create something, whether it's your child or your business, and do something absolutely outstanding. And really, the contribution of my success, I did clearly see right away, because without help of other people, today we call it networking, building relationship, mentors. When I started the business, when I came to this country, I could tell right away, it's very competitive market. When I ended up creating my own product, I realized, okay, so business is about volume, right? So I never play small. And for anybody who's running the business or running the business, always think big. I mean, that business is about volume, because the more we sell, the more we have, the more help we can give to other people. So, and that passion, along with understanding the business, it's about volume, right? It's really, I could tell right away that I need help from other people. I need help from people. Like today, you know, Stephen Clark. I didn't know him back then, my first mentors, but it was clear to me the success in business are people who build the companies, sold it to other companies. I targeted them. They didn't know who I am.
yes.
And
But you decided they were going to know. And so
yeah,
you found the right mentors that were doing the things that you dreamt of doing, and you listened and you worked hard, and then you created your own brand, and then you got married, and then you retired, and you were happy. Tell me about the journey of coming back and what that looked like. And then we can also talk about this concept of, you know, social giving, but still
absolutely.
profitable, so that you're making money, but you're making a contribution in everything you do.
So absolutely. So a little bit back to entrepreneurs and leaders who are, I know that today millennials, most of them, they're passionate to make the world a better place. They want to open initiatives and do something and contribute positively to the society. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that it's not about us. We can never succeed by ourselves. It's always with the help of other people. Not you, not me, not, the most fascinating person, even Steven, my husband, who built his company, sold it to other companies. We all need other people. It's a togetherness that creates that. Anybody who wants to get somewhere, they need to have not only one mentor and one coach. They need to have 5 mentors and 5 coaches That's how you succeed, because things are going to happen in business and those people are going to help you. And for sure, things are going to happen in business this way, because that's how business is. You take risks, something doesn't work, and that's where you have them. You have their back. They say, okay, Svetlana, you lost that batch, you burned those ingredients. Yeah, you lost $60,000. That's okay. I'll back you up because I believe in you.
Right.
See, I mean, those relationships, that's the key to success. So mentor coaches to everybody. And today, yes, we retired, my husband and I. We bought a beautiful house. Typical retirement stories for story for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
We were bored. We were bored because we are retired in a beautiful place. And yes, I mean, we just we decided to do something meaningful because our brain were getting rusty.
Yes.
We always make joke of it because in 6 weeks of retirement, 5.5 weeks, when we look at each other and they say, let's get out of here. Because the main, we always laugh at it, because the most important decision each and every day we had to make, which restaurant we go for the dinner to. So this is not good. This is not good.
And is that where IWB was born then? Was
yes.
At
first it was born, we decided to come to the marketplace. We decided to understanding that we're business people. Obviously we want to make a difference, but they also do understand that the business is about the trend, right? In my days, in our days, building the business, we actually always say that in business, we're not very, clever people or anything. We're not PhD or MBAs. We understand what trend is looking for because they're our customers, right? Once you understand their behavior and what they're looking for, you create solutions for them, exactly what they're looking for. And smart business people, we're going ahead of the time. So even they're forming, we already know who they are. We already looked at millennials back then, 10 years ago, and we said, yeah, finally, this is a trend. And it was showing you, I mean, I could show you all the data. 87% of them, they want to be engaged in making a difference in the world. We said, fantastic, finally, because we always fight with people, right? I mean, we are fortunate, I'm fortunate enough to have that experience from other countries and love to people. I would always do things for people. But let's be clear, most of the people, they do business to make money, right? Yeah. Which is, that's where you start lacking purpose and everything else. Yeah, the more money you have, and then what? It's not what you have, it's what you do with money. And that magical millennial trend was coming 8 years ago. We looked at them and we said, oh my goodness, I mean, this is good. This is our people. They're change makers, right? And that mindset.
Social impact, but still want to drive profit.
That's it. And that everything, I mean, came to us and I said, okay, now we have those people. Now we don't need to deal with baby boomers who created all that wealth. It's like in Arizona, in Scottsdale, when we talk to people and they talk about whatever, what's the next 15 vehicle they're going to buy, or what's the next island they're going to buy. And it's like, I mean, you can tell that it just totally disconnect with us. So we saw the trend and we said, okay, because as again, we are already mature business people. We have a lot of mentors in our life. We understand that the power of trend with that thinking, which is the whole gift for the humanity. I want to share with you that Canada and US, in Canada, we are very, very fortunate because we can do business for doing good. In most countries, it's not even available because it's a mature capitalism that grew to that point, right? Millennials, they have that thinking because they looked at a lot of their parents and they said, okay, you have wealth and why you're not happy?
Right, right.
And they said, I don't know about wealth, but I want to be happy. That's a human behavior. Who wants wealth without happiness? But that's a maturity of capitalism. I'm an economist, right? I understand trend and how it moves. So we're very fortunate to now be in transition from, I call it money-driven economy, which has been there for many, many decades, to purpose-driven economy.
Yes.
And this is the magic right now. That's where I want everybody to be excited because we are getting there. And I can tell you, 8 years ago, when we opened for-profit social enterprise, not a lot of people liked us because a lot of people, they come to the giving space to do good. And you tell them, charitable model is good, but it's not good enough because there's so many problems in the world. And here's the numbers. There's 480 billion we give to charities and nonprofit, and all the pockets of 17 sustainable development goals, none of them, they're getting better in Canada and US. Forget about other countries, right? So it's definitely, we need to do something to do better. I'm not saying that charities and nonprofits, they're excellent. I'm nonprofit myself. I run it more like a for-profit, but still, right? So when we created for-profit social enterprise, we started dealing with impact investment. And we did clearly see that in a giving space, which is a beautiful space, there's a need for innovation, for-profit thinking, right? For many different reasons. Obviously, we know that innovation and scalability, new ways of doing things comes from for-profit thinking. That's when you're hungry, when you're true entrepreneur, when you put, like Steven and myself, we put a lot of things on the line because we are true entrepreneurs. We invested a lot of money in our companies. But that's where innovation is being created.
Right. And so you have 3 unique businesses, right? Your IWB, your Immigrant Women in Business, is a not-for-profit. Although you run with that entrepreneur mind, you're doing it not-for-profit to teach women how to create their own entrepreneurship and their own financial gains. But then on the other side, you are working with angel investors and you're doing for-profit charitable work. So talk to me more about this for-profit impact that you're doing, because I don't think many people yet, it's not as common as charities and non-for-profits, right? So talk us through a little bit about what that means.
Well, I would explain it in a simple way. So in the for-profit sector, it's a for-profit social enterprise. It's still, so number one, a for-profit social enterprise, it's basically putting for-profit model and non-profit closer together. That's number one. It's a simple explanation.
Perfect.
In a for-profit space, right? Why for-profit space is very important anywhere, because it's a backbone of the society. Backbone of the society is a small business. If people like me and you, we start the businesses, 10 years later, we employ 250 people, but whatever, right? I mean, but it's still, it's a backbone of the society. It's not a charitable world. The charitable world, it's what we give as a tax write-off for them to do good, right? But today, there's so many issues in Canada and United States, but that for many years, we really chose not to really talk openly about it, that we also have domestic violence, we have food insecurity. Today, especially after COVID, domestic violence in a huge rise because women, they live with abuser 24/7. They used to, right, for a couple of years. We have food insecurity, again, got worse, but it was getting worse year after year.
1 in 5 children can't afford breakfast, right? In Canada. One of the wealthiest countries, North America is one of the wealthiest countries in the world. How is that possible, right?
It's, I mean, a lot of those issues people that don't want to talk about. Who wants to talk about it, right? Because again, talk about it doesn't really do anything. People, they need solution. Yes, right. And people, they look at it, okay, so we already give the money. How come they're not fixing the problem? But you have to understand, people in nonprofit and charitable world, they're not business people, most of them. They're people who are spending taxpayers' money, right? They're more really living like employee, really, because they're feeding from somebody is giving you money. You're not in a position to create something. I mean, that's the whole magic of business. You're creating something that is valuable. That's how I opened Immigrant Women in Business, because a lot of women, yes, of course, I wanted to help women. I could tell that we can inspire and uplift a lot of women, but I can tell that they can be an example, because a lot of confusion about entrepreneurship. It's very simple. You go to work, you create the product that you sell. So that's why in for-profit, because with that product and with improvement of the product of that value, you actually innovate something and create the solution. Because today world wants the solution. And so that's why the giving space and all the challenges that we have, it's not that they're not working hard. Of course they do, but they don't have that entrepreneurial mindset. I mean, the solution and innovation is being created by entrepreneurs who taking the risk and working so hard day and night, right, to create that solution, which is, I mean, that's what's needed basically today. That's how it was created. That's why we saw that we can contribute to that, because we're entrepreneurs with big hearts. We have money to invest. We have time and desire. And we are an example of people who put their time and effort and create and innovate. But again, for us, it's a lot of fun because we buy into the journey, right? For us, as my son is a great example for that. He's enjoying life. I mean, he has so many companies. It's really, you know what? I mean, I always say, I mean, maybe it's not a nice thing to say, but I'm all for making people happy. I want happy people. And I want that at the end of the day, that's what we all want. We want to dance. We want to have great friends. We want to share honest, authentic smiles, great stories when we can do and contribute, right? I know there's a lot of confusion. I know there's a lot of challenges in the world in general. But I can tell you, that to make it a little short, if you tap into space of social impact, that I encourage all women to tap into that space. That's where you find yourself, because today is time for women, because we are nurturers and we care, and we lead with love naturally. That's how Creator created us to do that. And that's the perfect space for us. And now the economy is ready for us. So that's why you see me like that. People are like, oh, Svetlana, you, because I'm so positive, because I'm part of the solution. So, and my message to everybody, we can help everybody to be part of the solution. We just need a little bit of guidance from everybody, like we always do. But the time is a beautiful time right now, Tara, really. I mean, look at the numbers in social impact, how many, and I'll end you with that 8 years ago, when I used to walk into the business clubs of Toronto, and I was talking about for-profit social enterprise and impact investment, people would look at me strange. Today, it's one of the hottest topics in business clubs. So we are there. Everybody came to the conclusion today that success is not about the money. So the definition of success is about being happy. And one and only way you can be happy if every day you do something positively contributing to the society and helping others, right? And anybody who wants to tap into this beautiful space, we can always help, collaborate, and find a way that we can work together, uplift, inspire, and guide to enjoy that purpose-driven economy.
Thank you so much, Svetlana. So you were born in Russia, you built your empire, you left that behind after growing it to be a wholesaler. You came here, you started from the ground up, you immersed yourself in the culture, you looked around, you found your gaps, and you found mentors to help you fill those gaps, and you didn't take no for an answer. And what I heard throughout everything you said is attitude, passion, and hard work is all you need. And that's what you use to create the businesses that you run today. And now today, you help women that are immigrants to this country to find their feet, to find their voice, and to know that they too can be entrepreneurs and contribute to this beautiful country that we live in. Second of all, you have always been an economist, and you've looked at the data and you've looked at the trends, and the trends have always shown you that people want to be happy, they want to care, they want to make a difference. And so you took that with your entrepreneurial spirit and your desire to create wealth, and you merged them together. And now you're doing this for impact, a for-profit social impact initiatives, and it is making a difference. My understanding from talking to you is you're going out there and you're working with big names like comedians that are one, I don't want to use their name because I don't know if I can, but you're getting them for every dollar that's spent in their restaurants, you're feeding families, you're putting kids, giving food to kids, millions of dollars. So with all of that, I want to thank you because you've inspired me. You've driven people on the other end of this monitor to look at their own life and say, hey, what can I do better? And you also know that there are still very big issues that need to be dealt with, like the domestic violence situation, mental health, getting people back into a positive spirit. And I remember you saying to me, networking will help with that because we have to get connected. After being locked down in our homes for 2 years, we need to get back out and get with different people so that we can build up that community. Now, with all of that, I just want to end with this one question. From everything you've learned and gone through, if you could go back to that little Svetlana who was being taught by her dad to work very hard, the 5-6 year old, what's the one thing that you would tell her that you think she would need to know and that other girls out there need to know? Just one thing that you think would be powerful for her.
6 years old. It's a long time ago. It's again, I was very fortunate, right? I would say my path was perfect because it's full of challenges, so that I looked at opportunities, right? Is that attitude, always keep positive attitude and be patient, because once people, they hire you, they bring you to your team. It's actually very simple. You don't need to be very smart or this and that. You just need to be a nice person in action. You just need to touch people and give them joy. It doesn't have to be innovative business models. It doesn't have to be something smart. It has to be something very nice in action. And that's what I believe. Maybe back then, we go through our stuff and this and that, big businesses. I would always love everybody who come to my world, but I would do it on steroids. I always know everybody who's around me. I live in a condo building. I know everybody. But this is, I think, the essence of life, treating everybody with love and show that love in action. And certainly in Canada, we can do it.
Excellent. Thank you, Svetlana. And as you said, like my sign says, just be a nice human, guys. And if you're a nice human, you take care of people and you come from a place of love, nothing can go wrong. Thank you for being with us. Thank you all for listening. And I can't wait till next month. Take care, everyone.
Thank you so much, Tara. God bless you.
Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe and follow me. And also, if you want some other content, hit me up on Tara Mishral Speaks on Instagram, or join my inner circle at taramishral.com. You will be the first to receive new content when it drops, as well as the first to get the Women's Spotlight. Learn about other amazing women in our local community that are up to big things. Thanks again, with love and light. Until next time, guys.